This week we're looking at the costume analysis series of Clark Kent, and now we're doing Tyler Hoechlin's version of the character. And I mean, Tyler Hoechlin's Clark Kent is in pretty much every episode of the TV series. So I'm mainly looking at the Clark Kent at the Daily Planet, which is what we did with Smallville. We're mainly looking at what he's wearing when he's at the Daily Planet. So mostly in the flashbacks and those kind of sequences. Although the glasses is something we can look at for any episode, from any episode, because he's wearing the same glasses regardless whether he's at the Daily Planet or at home. So let's have a look at Tyler Hoechlin's Superman, Clark Kent, looking at what he wears. So, as I said, in his everyday clothing at home on the Smallville farm, he's worn different suits, different shirts, different costumes, different what have you, different apparel. But we're looking mainly at his Clark Kent attire for the Daily Planet. But the glasses, as I said, have been used regardless of what episode they are. And here they are here. They're more of a wireframe glass rather than the bolder complete frame glass, which again is a more modern style.
Yeah, I like the glasses that he wears on the show. It is kind of a mix of, you've got the plastic sides, but
Mm-hmm.
kind of the more wiry looking on the front. So I think what they do is a good job of kind of disguising his face.
Yep.
It seemed like a lot of thought was put into that.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's a more modern look. Um, I mean, there's not a lot to say, really. I mean, Mike's right. It's big enough that it does kind of mask his face a little bit. He just looks like a regular guy.
Mm-hmm.
He just literally just looks like a regular guy, not trying to hide anything or not just a regular guy. You know what I mean? I mean, so,
Yeah.
like with Christopher Reeve, it kind of felt like, yeah, he's trying to hide who he is, But this is like, oh, it's almost as if, even though he's Superman, he might just put the glasses on for the heck of it anyway, because it's just,
It's just
just
part of
how
who
it
he
looks.
is.
He just, exactly. It just, it just makes him look like really a pretty much regular guy.
And we've got the comments that people in the comments, Nostalgic Pod Blast says that he likes that there are actual lenses in the glasses. Benjamin's video, Channel 95, says, I think he needs to shave. That's been a comment that we've got for this Clark Kent Superman since day one. It's part of what they're trying to, it's part of the character's look for this series in that they're showing that he is
Mm-hmm.
a more mature Superman. And it's just a differentiation. And the fact that, Tyler Hoechlin probably gets a 5 o'clock shadow by 9 a.m. Probably doesn't hurt and makes it easier for them to not worry about him always being clean shaven. But it works for this version of the character because he is a father of teenage boys. So it's showing a more distinguished, more adult version of Clark Kent. So I think the glasses look great on him here. And then we move to the suit. So here we are in a kind of one of the flashback sequences where he is first joining the Daily Planet and got a suit on. I love the fact that instead of like it's not a three-piece suit, but he has a vest or a
Yeah.
pullover or whatever you want to call it underneath the jacket. He's still wearing a tie. He's still wearing a button-up shirt. And it's still not necessarily modern, but it has a modern retro look, if you know what I mean. It's still very much time. It's got a kind of timeless look to it.
Yeah, the sweater vest. I don't know if this was on purpose, but that's what Clark wore in the Superboy
Mm-hmm.
strip. It wasn't, he had like a white button down on underneath. So it's kind of a mix of that. I think it separates him from the other Clark Kents. It's not quite as fashionista as
Mm-hmm.
Dean Cain was, or like waspy as Christopher Reeves was, for lack of a better term. It's not business casual, but it's also, it kind of fits the character.
Yeah, very understated.
Hmm.
I mean, it just looks like the type of suit that any guy would wear, in any office, anywhere. It's yeah, it's a to say it's more modern. I guess it is more modern. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're not talking about George Reeves and all that kind of thing, but um, it just has, yeah. I mean, it just has a nice look because it's kind of classic, but it's also just different. The style of the suit is just different enough, and wearing the sweater vest and all that just gives it its own style.
Indeed. And he's not wearing a hat, so we can't look at the hat here. There's no fedora.
Right.
There is no, hint towards that. So anytime he's ever worn a hat in Superman and Lois is where he's been coach or baseball assistant, whatever he is there, wearing a baseball cap is as close as Clark gets to wearing any type of hat that I can think of. But yeah, definitely no fedora or office hat for this Clark Kent, which is fitting with the times. But we look at the hair, and in that shot that we just saw, it has the kind of geeky, nerdy type of, brushed over across his forehead type of hairdo that is very bland. But then as he's obviously at home or more relaxed, as he gets older, he's kind of got a bit more of a stylish, brushed over hairdo. But it still is distinguishable from his Superman hair, which is a bit more of that kind of wavy, off the forehead look.
Yeah, no matter what, he kind of like Dean Cain looks like he's wearing product
Yeah.
in his hair,
Yes.
and a little more of a quaff, and it's like, did he take the time for that? Well, he can use super speed,
Yeah.
and I'm sure it was some trial and error, because I'm sure the first time he brushed his hair really fast, it looked like a hot mess. But I think again, it what it does is it serves to make Tyler's Clark very distinctive
Mm-hmm.
from the other Supermen. The nice thing about this show is that as much as it is kind of like the legacy of Superman on television in the movies and in the comics and such, kind of boiled into one, it's very much its own thing,
Yeah.
and so you want a Clark that's going to look like that.
Yeah, I first of all, that's a nice head of hair. Um,
we all are very envious.
yes, yes. No, again, I just think it looks, he just looks like a everyday guy. He just looks like a
Mm-hmm.
dad, you know, trying to just a guy of the 2000s, and just yeah. I mean, there's not a lot to say about it that much. It's just I like the style of it,
Mm.
and it just makes it a little more contemporary. I think the look
Yeah.
of it.
Exactly. So there we have looking at Tyler Hoechlin as Clark Kent Superman. Personally, he's Clark Kent. We don't see him that much in the Daily Planet. There's one or two episodes, or a few more than that. Looking back at him, but it's a classic look. It's very, it's understated. It's not overly fashionable, but it's not dorky or geeky either. He kind of just fits in at the office, but he does look like a mild mannered type of guy, and he's not trying to stand out, but he's also trying to blend in. Yeah. So all in all, his Clark Kent is more in this series the dad figure who is at the farm in Smallville. He's not necessarily the reporter that we're seeing in other versions of the story, although we have, as I said, seen flashbacks to that. So given that, it's hard to really judge his version of Clark Kent from a stylistic point of view. So I'm going to kind of go middle ground and give it a 7 out of 10.
I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to give it a 9. I
Okay,
really like it.
cool.
I just it just works for me on just about every level.
I was going to give it an 8, so I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, you go right in the middle there,
I would
right
stick with
between
an
us.
8 because it's a good. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice more modern take on the
Yep,
character, and I like that.
very cool. All right, so that is our costume analysis series on Clark Kent.